Hi YouTube, so this is my first video, and the reason I've decided to set up this channel is because I have received a lot of help from numerous YouTubers over the past year who have drastically influenced my life and helped me accept my own life in general, because before last year there was a lack of acceptance in who I was, and just my life in general was just hazardous. I really didn't know where I was going with my life. I didn't have any acceptance of anything within my life. So this is just the intention of this video, to just kind of like say what I intend to do and who am I, what have I gone through. So I guess to start off with, 10 years ago when I was 12, I realised I was gay, and I know that was probably very early to figure out what your sexuality is, but at the time I knew I was having feelings that were different to what I was expected to start feeling, because I had two older brothers, 10 years and 12 years older than me, and I kind of knew that I was expected to start liking girls, but I didn't. I started liking guys. So there was automatically something different. And I said this to my parents, and because I was so young, they acted like any other parents would, by pushing it aside, trying to explain to me that I wasn't, that I couldn't be. My mom told me recently that she had the idea of the movie Philadelphia in her head when I said it to her, so that kind of held back what they were thinking as well. So they eventually just thought that I was just excessively going on about something, because I had a tendency to be obsessed with a lot of things when I was a kid. So that's what they thought. So eventually they decided it doesn't matter who you are, or whether you're straight or gay or any of the LGBT identities, you know, that it didn't matter. But just for the moment, just, not to be going on about it. So that wasn't like the best reaction that a 12-year-old could have gotten, but when I started secondary school then, which is basically the Irish version, it's basically the same thing as middle school or junior high, I experienced 3 years of homophobic bullying, where I was convinced everyone in the entire school hated me. For the first year, I had people bullying me because they had the perception that I was different, because I didn't identify as any masculine ideals, and I was smart, that people thought I was gay just based on that. And then the following year, the two people I made friends with in first year started bullying me then, and then I eventually made the decision to not be friends with them anymore in my third year, and I spent the entire year alone. So basically spent 3 years of people putting ideas on me that made me believe that everything that I was wrong, that nothing about being gay was right, that everything about it was wrong, and it didn't help me identify with who I was very well. And I changed schools for my final 2 years of school when I was 15. So I finished school when I was 17, and I had a fairly good 2 years in that school. I mean, there was nothing wrong about it, but at that stage I kind of pushed my sexuality aside and didn't worry about it. But then I had another horrible 2 years where I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do careers-wise and what I wanted to do in college. And I basically, the first year I went to college, I lasted a week because I wasn't ready. So that was absolutely horrible, especially when you're coming home and having to experience that with your family. It's just a horrible experience of only spending a week in college and not being able for it. And then it was within that year that I decided to speak to my parents again when I was 18 that I was gay. And that is another story that, I mean, they didn't throw me out. It didn't really matter to them that I was gay. They just questioned the fact that I was gay a lot. And I suppose that's expected from family. Then the second year I went to college, I tried to pursue a subject which I eventually knew wasn't right for me, so I lasted till January, and then I decided to leave that course again. So within 2 years, I basically wasted 2 years of my life trying to figure out who I was and what I wanted to do career and academically wise. But still at the same time trying to deal with my sexuality. So I basically had to go through the entire application process for college for a third time. And when I went to that college, I've actually had the best 2.5 years of my life. I eventually settled, but for the first 2 years, for the first year and a half, I ignored my sexuality again, and it wasn't until a year ago that I decided to finally sort of do something about this. And I also eventually decided to accept everything that was also being suppressed, because for the 3 years that I was being bullied, the only thing that helped me get through it was computer games and just studying. And after that, I eventually found music, which helped me as well. But when I found music, I had to deal with all the aggro I got from my family about that, which, because my music is so diverse, none of them could get what was going on with my music. Like, it became like a certain point where I didn't talk about half of my music, and whenever I did, it was nearly like I was coming out to them about certain aspects of my music. That I had to hide aspects of my music, and when I spoke about them to friends, I covered up half of my music because I didn't know what way they would react, the same way as I didn't know what way they'd react when I told them that I was gay. But anyway, in the last year, I've had an awful lot of help from numerous YouTubers, which I'm going to mention now, and I'm going to put them into the description below. In a nutshell, in the last year, because I have decided to accept, I'm more deciding to accept everything about my life, that everything has become a lot easier. Um, I have friends who know that I'm gay, and it's becoming to a lot easier to be who I am, and I'm now going into 2014 with a totally different mind frame than I did when I started 2013. So that's basically my story, and just to say that it does get better. There have been a few YouTubers which I would now like to mention as having been major influences in my life over the past year. The first one that I came across was Denactor, Denis Thiriault, um, Sam Luigi of Kinda Gay blog, Simon Harrison, Russ Marine, all four of them major influences on giving me advice on coming out and just generally helping me be myself. And then also Shep689, which showed me that being gay and living your life is not what is identified on TV or in movies. It can be whatever you want it to be. And then finally, Shane Bitney Crone's story has had major influence on my life and taught me that love can be whatever you want it to be. The world has many different meanings for it, and whatever you want it to be, it can be. So that's my story. I hope if you used any of the other YouTubers below that they give you as much help as they did me, and I hope this video helps other people, and I hope to make other videos in the future which are hopefully just as helpful. Thank you.